Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. We got to talk about Impact Wrestling from November 11th, 2021, in which I am on the edge of Impact, of just dropping Impact. Let's just skip to the main event. Eddie Edwards wins the number one contenders match to face Moose. And I know there's a feud between Moose and Eddie Edwards. It goes back quite a bit. But if anything has continuously derailed Impact being able to move forward, it's that every time they really get a good running start, they throw a goddamn Eddie Edwards in there. I am so sick of Eddie Edwards. I'm so tired of Eddie Edwards. They did this last year. When Eric Young came back, won the world title, he lost it to Eddie Edwards. Why? What is it about this clump of human cells that they like so much that every time they get any momentum, all of a sudden, whoop, Eddie Edwards. It's like, out of here. Get out of here. Please go do. How many years has it been? Has it been 8? Has it been 7, 6? Where they just keep throwing you random Eddie Edwards number one contenders matches at you? No, I don't want to see Eddie Edwards versus Moose. I don't want to see that. I know it serves the story, but the purpose of this whole thing is that Moose has a story with all of these guys. That's the point. That was the point behind the whole match. Is that Moose pissed off all of these guys. They all want to beat him up. So there's no story that could have been told between Moose and Eddie Edwards that they could also have told with Moose and Matt Cardona or Moose and Morrissey. I do not care one sniveling, shrunken iota about Moose versus Eddie Edwards. I do not give a damn about Moose versus Eddie Edwards. They were off to a good start. There's some stuff on this. There's one other thing on this show that's actually very fucking good. One. That's why I'm on the cusp of getting rid of Impact. It's becoming tough. It's becoming tough. This random Eddie Edwards stuff is so frustrating. And he refuses to change, refuses to grow, refuses to do anything different. It is awful. Whenever I see Eddie Edwards in the main event, I don't even know what year it is anymore. It might have been cool a year or two ago. 3 years ago, maybe. But now, no. He is not the kind of generational talent that you would push to the main event, regardless of, 5 or 6 years in. It's like you give him a short run, then you dump him into the X division or something like that, let him build that. Maybe he's an occasional main eventer. But no, Eddie Edwards is always in the mix. He's like the Randy Orton of Impact. Why? Why is he always in the mix? What is it about Eddie Edwards? He can't really cut good promos, and his matches aren't even all that good anymore. What is it? This is awful. This is it's depressing. They couldn't have found a more boring match than Moose versus Eddie Edwards to main event this show. And the show was shaping up to be, the Turning Point show, which is the show that they're building. They actually build pay-per-views and Impact, even though, people aren't really all that interested. They actually do try to build pay-per-views. But for Christ's sake, Eddie Edwards. Eddie Edwards, man. Why? Why did you do this to me? Who is the brain trust behind Impact who thought, Eddie Edwards, it's time for another Eddie Edwards push? No, it's not time for another Eddie Edwards push. It's never that time. Eddie Edwards and Josh Alexander are essentially the same. If you're going to put Josh Alexander in the main event, then get Eddie Edwards out of here. Get him out of here. I'm not saying he needs to die or anything like that. What I'm saying, he got Big Show heat with me. And this show absolutely took it to that level. That dude has Big Show heat with me. I cannot fucking stand Eddie Edwards. He gotta go. Bye-bye. I cannot stand it. I cannot stand this. I will not stand for this. No more. This is the shits. This is the absolute pits. This is why people don't watch Impact. For fuck's sake. Let's go back to the beginning of the show. I just had to get it off my chest. I cannot stand that shit, man. Of all that. Damn it. Damn it. Anyway. All right, Bullet Club defeated Finjuice. I hate Finjuice too. I'm not really a big fan of the Bullet Club, but I absolutely hate fake Macho Man Juice Robinson. I can't stand it. The Good Brothers attacked the Bullet Club after the match. I don't know who the baby faces are. I don't know who the heels are. Both of these teams are heels. I don't know who the baby faces are. I don't know who the heels are. Finjuice were clearly the baby faces, and then Bullet Club beat them. And now, did that turn Bullet Club babyface? I don't know. Does anybody know? No. Does anybody care? Not really. Who really gives a shit about the Good Brothers? Who really gives a shit about Chris Bay and El Phantasmo? Nobody. Who cares about any of this stuff? Scott D'Amore, what was he doing? Oh, he told Josh Alexander why he's not the number one contender. He basically said that Josh Alexander is distracted by Minoru Suzuki, and that when he pushes or puts Josh Alexander in the position to wrestle for the world title, he wants him focused and clear-minded. And since he's distracted by Minoru Suzuki, he wants him to go ahead and fight Suzuki first. Then he will put him in a title shot. I was like, that's kind of silly, because why is he distracted by Minoru Suzuki? He should be distracted by the guy who attacked him while his family was in the ring. That should take precedent over his, I guess, I don't know what you would call it, his thing with Minoru Suzuki. But I get it. Minoru Suzuki isn't going to be in the country for very long. You got to get in what you can get in. And then, because they set up the match, not even for the pay-per-view, it was set up for Impact next week, Minoru Suzuki versus Josh Alexander, because he ain't going to be in the country very long. All right, so that means it's just going to derail Josh Alexander for 2 or 3 weeks. All right, cool. Which is, for them, 2 days? Because they tape like a month in advance. So it was probably like 2 days. All right. I'm going to give them a pass on this one. Doesn't make any sense, but at least they tried to explain it. And there was a good reason why they couldn't, go with what they wanted to go with. Because Minoru Suzuki only has a limited time in the country. All right. I'll give it a pass. This flummoxed me, considering Minoru Suzuki only has a couple of time in the country, but they had him wrestle Caleb with a K. Why would you bring this guy in to wrestle Caleb? That seems stupid to me. This is a waste of everybody's time. Of course he won. I'm guessing they just wanted to give the Impact fans a chance to sing that damn song. I hate that damn song. That Minoru Suzuki song. The song is more over than he is, if we're being honest at this point. But Suzuki and Alexander will be next week. They should have gave Suzuki another opponent. If you're going to go with this, he's wrestling god or a wrestling deity or something like that. Give him a couple of tough matches and then let him go on about his business. Somebody tough that's not in the title picture that he could have, maybe somebody he never wrestled before, but somebody to sort of put him on a upper echelon. I don't know who would it be in Impact, but I guess it would have been a guy like Matt Cardona, who ended up losing in the main event anyway. I mean, if he's going to beat him that week, you should have just beat him against Minoru Suzuki. Could have been a match somebody he's never wrestled before. Matt Cardona is one of the guys that you've been pushing kind of as a top guy, kind of. And people who are fans of Impact would have seen it as being a pretty good win for Suzuki. Instead, he just squashed Caleb, which to me seemed like a waste of time. Another thing that seemed like a complete and total, this shit came out of left field, if we're being honest. I didn't know that Sam Beal had left the learning tree. So, to my surprise, I'm watching Impact and I see Sam Beal pin Brian Myers. I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? Why did this happen? And he's hanging out with Rich Swann and Willie Mack. And I'm like, what's going on here? I don't know where this came from. I'm pretty sure I watched Impact last week, and Brian Myers and Sam Beal were okay. At least, if I forgot, if I memory hold something, please let me know in the comment section below. But this seems to come out of nowhere. And essentially, they did a segment where VSK and Zicky Dice are still part of the learning tree. They're still hanging out with Brian Myers. Brian Myers complains and says the most embarrassing loss he's ever had was this, I guess it was a 6-man tag that he lost in. VSK claimed that he beat Sam Beal by himself, which of course pissed off Myers, and he ended up slapping Zicky Dice for it. Then he challenged Sam Beal to a one-on-one match. Later in the episode, Sam Beal said that it was an honor for him to be the first student of Brian Myers, and he has all of this great information that he learned from Brian Myers and the stacks of notebooks. But he said that in the match there are no notebooks. There is nothing for you to refer to, and that he needs to stand on his own, and that he's going to defeat Brian Myers without the use of Rich Swann or Willie Mack. He wants to fight him by himself, and they're going to do that match next week. I just wish I could remember what led to the breakup of this. I cannot remember it at all. I do not remember it at all whatsoever. Did it happen during one of those silly social media episodes of Impact? Because if it did, I ain't see it. I got another. I'm very mad about the digital media thing too. We're going to get to that in a moment. I'm pissed about that. So the Undead Bridesmaids, they lose to Decay, and the Inspiration were watching from the ramp. This led the Inspiration to say that, hey, we gave you guys and the Undead Bridesmaids one opportunity to do something for us, and you guys couldn't even get it done. Therefore, we're going to kick you out of our division next week. And I was like, wait a minute, what happened to them being scared? I thought they were scared of the Undead Bridesmaids. Okay, whatever. Whatever. I don't care, man. Chris Sabin is very mad that Ace Austin is wearing a shirt that says "I beat Chris Sabin," and he says we had one match, and Ace Austin won that one match. I don't see why he would say that. We had one match, like he won that one match, and ergo he wears that shirt. In any event, he claimed that he cheated in that one match, and then challenged him to a one-on-one match at Turning Point, and said he's going to wipe his ass with that shirt and shove it down his throat, which is, pretty graphic visual there, Chris. Chris Sabin is still around. I can't believe it. Madison Rayne, this is, I guess, footage from last week, but Madison Rayne was pretty upset at Mercedes Martinez for completely and totally ignoring her after she lost to Mickie James. She felt like it was completely and totally disrespectful that Mercedes Martinez did so. She was complaining, and then, of course, Scott D'Amore overheard it and then said, oh, since you feel that way, Mercedes Martinez versus Madison Rayne next week. And since next week is this week, Madison Rayne versus Mercedes Martinez. Now, this is where I slow down. So, Madison Rayne versus Mercedes Martinez did not get booked the way I probably would have booked it. In terms of, it wasn't a decisive win for Mercedes Martinez. She won, but it was by a roll-up. Okay, it was a schoolgirl roll-up. And then after the match, Mercedes Martinez was attacked from behind by Madison Rayne. And she was getting beat down, and Madison Rayne goes out there and gets a chair. Then in comes Mickie James. Mickie James runs off Madison Rayne, and she helps Mercedes Martinez to her feet. And then Mercedes Martinez turned on Mickie James and dropped her. And I was like, yes. I like that. I like that. I didn't care for everything up to that point, but when Mercedes Martinez flipped it on Mickie James, I liked that. That was very good. It was very good because it instantly shocked me. I wasn't expecting it. That was a good subversion of expectation. I expected it because they based their entire feud on respect. So that's kind of how the way you think it's going to go. The I respect you, you respect me kind of game that they would play. So for Mercedes Martinez to drop Mickie James, she dropped her with some kind of move and basically wiped her feet, on Mickie James. I was like, oh, okay. That's an inventive little heel turn there. We had the babyface come in for the save, and then the other babyface is feeling like, fuck you, I didn't need your help, and dropped her. Like, okay, I like that. The Mickie James stuff on this show was actually pretty good. She's been doing pretty good stuff since she started showing up on Impact. Can't deny it. Her stuff has been pretty good. Another person who's actually doing surprisingly good stuff is Rhino and Heath. They did a segment also where Heath talked about, busting his ass to get back into the ring. And he's finally got Rhino back. And his girls got Uncle Rhino back. And but this thing with Violent by Design isn't over. But thankfully, Rhino has his voice back. So then Rhino, to be quite honest, cuts probably the best promo I've heard from him in a long time. This is what stories can do. It informs your promo. So now Rhino is talking about that the last year of his life when he was trapped in Violent by Design, it was like he was seeing it happened to somebody else. He can't quite understand it. Couldn't quite understand what happened to him, but he feels poisoned. And he talked about, and he flips the Eric Young concept of the sickness, where he says that you poisoned me, Eric Young, and I can't purge this poison by myself. That's why I have Heath with me to help me. And together, we're going to purge this poison of violent by design from me. And you're going to know that poison is purged once I rip you in half with a gore. And I was like, okay, cool. All right. And it was passionate. It had intensity to it. It was serious. Hey, I like it. This was good. We didn't get a Violent by Design promo this week. I didn't see one. So this was the only thing that really pushed forward the Violent by Design portion of the show, which is good. You know, I liked that too. That was pretty good. Another thing that I liked, Steve Maclin is backstage complaining that he lost in matches without ever being beaten. He keeps saying nobody has ever beaten me. Nobody in this entire company has ever beaten me. I never lost. And he thinks that he should get an X Division title shot. Trey Miguel, of course, is listening to him ramble. And then says, man, if you wanted to get pinned and submitted, all you had to do was ask. Then he turns to Scott D'Amore, who is always off camera listening, apparently, and says to him, let's make it a triple threat match. Which, of course, is kind of like defeats the purpose. This guy is complaining about never getting beaten, and you want to put him in another match where he doesn't have to get beat to lose. No. You know, and Scott D'Amore smartly said no, but then stupidly said, oh, well, Steve Maclin is going to wrestle Laredo Kid. And if he beats Laredo Kid, it will be a triple threat match at the pay-per-view. But of course, if he loses, then he's lost his first match and he can no longer say he's undefeated. I'm thinking they're going to find some kind of way of getting out of that thing, that maybe Maclin just straight up wins, which would shit on Laredo Kid, if we're being quite honest. And if Maclin loses, then he lost his first match to Laredo Kid, which is, you know, not a bad thing, I guess. I like Laredo Kid. I just think it sucks to put him in this position. Maybe you should have just said Maclin was next, or Maclin got next after Laredo Kid. But I liked Trey Miguel's fire here, his intensity. I actually like Trey Miguel as a promo. His promos are actually pretty good, you know, because he gets in guys' faces. He promos bigger than he really is. He has more personality and more intensity than he actually shows. Rohit Raju wrestled Rocky Romero in a match I couldn't care less about. I couldn't imagine two guys that I like less outside of Eddie Edwards than Rohit Raju and Rocky Romero. Look, Rocky Romero is just a guy. I know he comes and he goes. I don't pay him that much attention. You know, he doesn't really talk. I don't even know what his voice sounds like. Outside of, I think I saw him do the Good Brothers movie or something like that, which I didn't order, but I saw clips of it online. Outside of that, and I think he does commentary. He does commentary for New Japan. So I know what his voice sounds like, but he doesn't cut any promos. He doesn't have any character. He just shows up on these wrestling shows, and he wrestles on wrestling shows, and he goes away. So it's hard for me to hate him or like him. He just kind of comes and goes. He's like a waif. He blows through the breeze, and he's gone before you get a chance to dislike him. But Rohit Raju has been around for a long time and brings nothing to the table. He's not a great promo. His matches aren't that great. He's not a great character. He's like an Indian gingerbread man with none of the spices. He sucks. I do not like Rohit Raju. Never liked Rohit Raju. I like him even less now. He just takes up a lot of time on television. I don't know what's up with Rohit. He sucks. Who doesn't suck? Johnny Swinger. Johnny Swinger is he's hanging out with Hernan Daddy. And Johnny Swinger is completely and totally distraught. He's got problems with the demon, aka the Kiss Demon, who wants to kick his ass. And the Swing Man is down bad because not only has he lost his precious casino, Swinger's Palace, but also he's got problems with the demon. So Hernan Daddy steps up and says, look, you gave me a job when nobody else did, so I did you a favor. I went and got you a match against the demon, and of course Swinger didn't like that, but he says it was a tag team match. It's Decay and the Demon versus Swinger and Hernan Daddy, and Swinger was pretty pissed. He was like, wait a minute, that's 3-on-2. What kind of favor is that? And he was like, no, wait, we got another guy. And then Johnny Bravo comes in, And Swinger's even more disgusted that Johnny Bravo wants a piece of this thing. And he's like, no, not me. I don't want. Falaba is the guy. And then Johnny Swinger's even more upset because Falaba can't be trusted. Falaba was happy when Swinger Palace got shut down. Then Falaba says, you can trust me because this time I actually want you to owe me. And I was like, I don't like Falaba. It makes sense for the story that they're telling, but I don't care for Falaba at all. I couldn't give a shit less about Falaba. Impact has probably the worst mid card I have ever seen. It's horrible mid card. It is awful. It consists of Falaba, Rohit Raju, Madman Fulton. These people are awful. They need a new roster. Like they need to push better guys. They need an entirely new roster. That might be the only positive thing about Ring of Honor going out of business is in that they can pick up Ring of Honor's roster. Ring of Honor has a good roster, right? There's a lot of guys on Ring of Honor's roster, and they signed somebody this week, and we'll talk about that in a moment too. I should have started the show with that, but I could not. Eddie Edwards. Anyway, Ring of Honor has a good roster. There's a lot of good talent on Ring of Honor that they can pick up and get rid of, start flushing Impact of all of these Falabas and all of these Rohit Rajus. They can get the fuck on. And we can bring in Josh Woods. And if we can bring in even somebody that I don't really care for, but is better than most people that Impact has, like Silas Young, bring those guys in. But get Falaba the fuck out of here. All right, get him out of here. Rohit Raju, fuck out of here. Okay, please go away. We've been dealing with these guys for far too long. Now we have access to more talent next year. Hopefully they make some smart decisions. Maybe they can get a guy like Jay Lethal if WWE doesn't want him. He's a little too old. He might do some shots in AEW, but who knows? Who knows if Ring of Honor is how it's going to exist next year? But there's going to be some guys that are going to be available, and some women that that Impact can get. They need to rebuild. They need a solid talent base. The talent base they have right now is very bad. It's very, very bad. So now the digital media stuff. Chelsea Green cuts the promo that basically caught us up on the digital media championship. And I was like, why do I care about this? For starters, it's digital media. This is linear television. Get this off TV. If we're going to do digital media, do it on YouTube where everybody, I cannot watch it. So I was kind of confused by that, but I guess you want to, catch people up on it if they haven't been watching it. Then I realized two things that really kind of irked me. One, a lot of this digital media stuff is intergender, which I already kind of knew because Jordan Grace is the champion. I knew there were men in that division. But two, Jake something is in that division. And that really pissed me off because that guy has something. No pun intended. He actually has some talent, right? He has some ability. Whenever I've seen Jake something with the spotlight on him, at least in matches, he turns it on. Impact is doing absolutely nothing with him. He's got to get out of there. Jake something has got to get out of Impact. Now, I'm not saying go to AEW. I'm certainly not saying go to WWE. But he's got to get the fuck out of Impact. He's been in Impact for like 3 or 4 years now. And the best they could do was go back to his indie name. And I think he wrestled for the X Division title once. It's like, come on. This dude has something. You're pushing fucking Eddie Edwards. We should be trying to build somebody like Jake something. He can talk good enough for Impact. He doesn't have a character or personality, which is why I'm saying they need to do something with him. Take what you got with this guy and build something around him. This fucking digital media thing, if John Schuyler is involved and Chelsea Green is involved and Jordan Grace is involved, he doesn't need to be in that, right? He doesn't need to be wrestling women. He certainly shouldn't be having fucking matches with women. He certainly shouldn't be doing jobs to women. But I'm one of these dinosaurs in the corner of the internet that keeps saying intergender matches are fucking stupid and don't do the men any favors. It's all about the women. Who cares? They have a women's division. Let the women wrestle in the women's division. Let the men wrestle in the men's division. And the two should not meet. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to have the women main event a show sometime, fine. You want to have the women have their own show sometimes, fine. But I don't want to see men wrestling women. I know that there are some people who do. But even they understand there's so few of those people. There's so few people even watching Impact in the first place. And then you want to alienate a lot of those people by putting men versus women fucking matches on this show. That's another reason why Impact is on the cusp of me not even watching this shit anymore. All right, that shit is frustrating. I do not want to watch prospects get beat by Chelsea Green. I don't want to see that shit. Right? Somebody who could be in the future. I think it's a little. I think they were a little late in putting the title on Moose. I think it should have done it before. But it was the right circumstance. It was red hot, and then they kind of fluttered away and they dumped shit all over it. Called Eddie Edwards. It was awful. But at least that was a hot angle. And at least they were doing something different. And they had somebody different with Josh Alexander. And now this digital media thing, I have zero interest in this. This is all stupid. Impact, I've been struggling with a while with Impact, man. But this, I'm going to wait and see how far this Eddie Edwards thing goes before I make a decision to, knee-jerk react and dump talking about it. I'm not going to, dump it and say I'm not going to even watch Impact anymore. But I may slow down on doing videos about Impact. I may just do it like I used to do Ring of Honor, and I'll just do the pay-per-views or the big events, their Impact Plus events and their pay-per-view events. Because following Impact weekly is driving me nuts, But we'll see. We'll see how I feel next week when Impact airs. All right, so Impact signed Lady Frost, who is a regular in NWA. She's also been off and on with Impact. They signed her, I think, to an exclusive contract or a longer-term deal, which is not bad. They kind of needed women on the roster. So that's a start. I'm not familiar with her promo ability, which is all I care about. Her character is, she's the Ice Queen. So she has like gray hair and she kind of uses she's like Mr. Freeze from Batman, where it's all ice puns and cold puns and all that kind of stuff, which is very WWE, if we're being honest. So I'm interested in what they do with her because you can sign whoever you want. I maintain that talent is what it is. It's all about how you use them. What is the plan for using this talent? And the women's division need talent. It can't just be Deonna Purrazzo and Mickie James. So it's good that they got Mercedes Martinez and they're pushing her. They need to see what women are going to be available from Ring of Honor and try to get some of them, especially Roxy or Miranda Alizé and Trish Adora. I would try to look into those three when they're available from Ring of Honor because they're younger. Well, Miranda Alizé and Roxy are young. They're I don't even think Miranda Alizé is 25. And Roxy is not even 22. So they're building blocks. You can actually build a division around them. And that's very good. Don't let NWA get them first. Even though I know there's a relationship between NWA and Impact, don't let NWA get them first. Don't let people waste them getting unnecessary bumps on them. Spend as much within reason in order to get at least those two so that you can build around them. And you need centerpieces. Deonna Purrazzo needs other people to play with. You can't keep bringing in Mickie James or, bringing in Melina or whatever. Get her some younger women that she can play with long term. That should be the goal. But they need to gut the mid card. There's so many people that when you look at the roster of Impact and you can just say, he can go, he can fuck off. All of these people can fuck off because either they're not bringing anything to the table in terms of storyline or in terms of character, or they've been around so long that they're also ran like a Eddie Edwards and a Rohit Raju. They're not doing anything with these guys. Who cares about them? Rhino would have been in that list too if they hadn't done the Violent by Design thing and reinvigorated his character, but who knows how long that can last. So there's a lot of guys who are also rans in Impact. We don't need them. Go younger, go fresher. It's the best thing for you. in the long term, especially since Impact seems to be the cockroach that will never die as far as wrestling promotions is concerned. Why keep letting MLW beat you to the punch on some of these talents? Again, a guy like Casey Navarro. There is a couple of other guys out there who might have some charisma, some talent, be pretty young, and you can bring them in and motivate them and build. You know, Ace Austin is a good one too, but Ace Austin, again, is a young guy that they've done nothing with. They just beat him to pace, to be quite honest. But, you know, Impact's booking is part of the issue. But another, you know, which is, it's a large, about 60% of the problem is the way Impact books the talent. About 40% is the quality of the talent already. You know, you could push Rohit Raju to the moon. You could put the world title on him, have him beat everybody. Nobody's going to give a shit because Rohit Raju sucks. You know? And I think so many people feel the same way about a lot of the guys on Impact's roster. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel. Thank you guys for your time, and I will talk to you guys later.